Hello. Good afternoon from India, and I think it's good morning to you, Kim. How are you doing today? You are muted. You are muted, please.
Yes, good morning. I'm well, thank you.
Very good morning. You are now alive and kicking, and it's so nice to meet you. Uh,
Yes,
I apologize if I was a couple of minutes late in joining in.
no problem.
So I'm the stand-up comedian for you. I'm going to take you through the paces. We have 30
Okay.
minutes of a very interesting subject.
Yes.
Inclusivity and diversity in rural economic development. Uh, Viewers across the world, good day to you. I'm very privileged to introduce Kim Cole. Have I got you right, Kim?
Cooley.
Cole. Kim Cole, SVP in Capital Consulting Company. She is a very wide plethora of skill sets from underwriting to CRA compliance, modeling, and statistical research, stuff like that. But essentially, where does she bring these skill sets? It is in terms of inclusivity and diversity for rural economies. And why is she talking rural economies? Because Omaha, from where she comes from, distinctly corn country. It is a rural country. It is agricultural country. And welcome. I am sitting here as your host in Bangalore, part of the state, southern state of Karnataka. And you have a global audience, Kim. You are being live streamed on Facebook. You are being live streamed on YouTube. And there are a couple of thousand attendees who are all over this platform. I still don't know how many are looking at you on from the platform, but welcome. Tell us a little about yourself, a little your journey, and some of the milestones, and then I'll let you loose on the audience.
Sounds good. Well, I've been working to help other people since I was 13 years old. I guess I was inspired by my father, who was in the Air Force. And also, my mother was in an explosion and spent 30 years recovering from that. So, as a result, I put together Veterans Villa and Small Business Centers. And I'll just show you a little picture, a diagram. It's Veterans Small Business Center. So we all love our soldiers and they protect us and keep us safe. And so this is my way of honoring the soldiers. And what it is roughly 100 units of housing, affordable housing, and 10 units of offices for the small business veteran. And so that would be the veteran trying to transition out into the community. And
Right.
I'm paying attention to their diverse needs. So my theme is diversity, and I have veteran villas and small business center projects in South Sioux City and in Pueblo, in Colorado Springs, and in Grand Junction. All of these communities have very few people in population, but many veterans, and
Sure.
they have mental health needs. So
Yes.
in my model, on the very first page, I have physical and occupational therapy. I'm very sensitive to veterans that are without limbs and their mental health. So that's where I'm honoring my mother, who suffered 30 years from the explosion. I have a psychologist on site at each of the veteran villas. So then on top of this, I'm adding on technology. We all love technology, and
Sure.
we have some patented technology to help run the real estate in the most efficient way possible. But we also have the technology to help the veterans buy and sell from each other. So we have 400,000 veteran-owned businesses, and we're communicating with all of those businesses. And we're also tying together all of the veterans organizations across the United States. So if we have a veteran that needs a new arm, a new artificial arm, then we can connect with our veteran counterparts all over the United States and or really the world, and we can find that arm to help the veteran. So the diversity comes in that all of our soldiers are a very diverse set of people. And in the United States, we call it majority minority. In every one of the places where I'm working, there's 58% majority minority. So we have a lot of beef packing, a lot of agriculture in our community, chicken processing. So in these communities, we have very large families and diverse families. So I'm helping them because on average, there's 25 million plumped into that small community and 25 million in new housing where there's a shortage really helps. And the new businesses really help because then we're growing the small businesses up from the lowest level. Now, you may not know this, but 22 soldiers in America commit suicide a day. So we're trying to develop something where we can give hope to that veteran that they are going to start their next Google small business or whatever they love. If they love to make hats, they can make hats, and we will help them. We'll move their wheelchairs around or take them to the doctor, whatever they need. So then, as long as I'm going to be a pioneer, then I need to be a pioneer in terms of financing. So that's where I'm doing something different than most other people. I'm starting, yes, go ahead. Yeah. Did you want to ask a question?
I think the flow has been terrific, but I want to stop you out here. You have raised some fundamental problems which viewers across the world would be interested in knowing.
Yes.
The veteran issues in the United States is of very big importance to communities.
Yes.
Specifically because I'm not talking about the Bay of Pigs at Cuba or North or the Korea, but definitely from Vietnam onwards, United States and its population or government has at one level recognized issues like PTSD amongst the vets.
Yes.
The psychological and the social issues of vets trying to integrate into communities.
Yes.
Successive governments have mouthed the right platitudes, but done very little, like many other governments across the world.
Yes.
The numbers are huge, and like you said, there has been a lot of people in the front line, and there has been physical disabilities. You talked about prosthetic arm, and I can give you a small anecdote here. It's a positive anecdote. The cheapest with the longest durability of a prosthetic leg or arm was developed by a doctor in India, in the northern state of Rajasthan, called Jaipur, and the prosthetic leg is actually called the Jaipur foot.
Oh, beautiful.
It's $15, fitted to size for an adult without a leg below the ankle. $15.
Wow.
And he has set up a huge back-end manufacturing. I at least know of 100 American friends who know of people, and I have met at least 10 who have bought or who are using a Jaipur foot.
Oh, wonderful.
Just a little thing to lighten the mood on a subject which is so endearing, which is so full of empathy for people.
Yes.
It might be your expression of love towards your mother, but you're touching live skin. You're touching lives the way people cannot imagine. Fantastic stuff. You talked about using technology. You talked about fundamental affordable housing for people to live. These are the ones who have given their limbs and their minds and their bodies to protect all of us. And in that scenario, for you to give back is fantastic. I'm glad that such recognitions happen. In India, it took 40 years before one rank, one pension was introduced recently, so that a major or a commander who retired 30 years back and a commander who retires today were getting different kinds of pensions. And it has now been evened out so that nobody who served in the last war is seen to be less useful to the country as opposed to somebody who served in this war. So
Yes.
there's a fundamental thing you're doing. Please go on with it. So you talked about technology. You have talked about the issues of health, mental and physical health. You talked about rehabilitation. You talked about jobs, which is where you have used technology for vet-owned businesses, and you're saying it's 400K businesses across, and you're working on a network across the whole of United States. The sad part you are saying is we got 7,000 people potentially committing suicide amongst the vet community, 22 soldiers a day. You talked about majority minority, but then you started to talk about all this is possible only if the fourth pillar is also robust and can afford to do things. Capital. So let's
Yes.
go to Cayman Capital for
Yes.
yeah.
Well, that's the thrilling part for me because I am a banker and I started out crunching the numbers, and I'm using a new law that was passed, and it's called opportunity zones. So that brings in the wealthy investor and they get a capital gains deduction. So I ran the numbers and I figured out exactly the right number of housing and business offices for the veterans that I can present to the investor, and then I can give that investor above market returns. And so then it turns out to be 4 different conversations. I have a conversation on Monday with the bankers and I say, okay, you're gonna make 18% internal rate of return, which is really good for real estate.
Absolutely.
And then on Tuesday, I go over and I talk to the community and I say, community, what are you going to get out of it? And then I tell them that they'll get more jobs, they'll get more housing, they will have people more happy in theory because we're going to give the residents and the business owners access to recreational opportunities, healthcare. We're going to make everything accessible to them, changing the model. It's called holism, basically, in institutional economics. So it's really exciting to use the tools that are right there. And of course, I honor the environment. We use PACE financing to buy the energy efficient materials so that we can renovate the housing or build new housing and offices. So that's what I consider the diversity. Bring in the wealthy investors, bring in people from all kinds of backgrounds, and even volunteers. It's amazing how many people, nurses, doctors, people just tell me, Kim, when you have your grand opening, let me know, I'll be there and I'll volunteer 5 hours every month. Well, that adds up when the whole community is coming on site. And that's exactly what I want. I have a big space in each of my projects for the clubhouse so that people can have coffee and their treats, their pastries, and just talk, because that gives us a reason to live if we're creating a community and honoring our soldiers.
Throw in a pool table and make it disabled friendly.
Yes, in my chart, if you zoom in and look in the window, there's a pool table.
There you go. See, I saw that. Yeah, lovely, noble. Now tell me, Kim, I'm going to take you into uncharted waters here. What were the challenges you faced? And I'll give you a leading question. Like all countries, there is discrimination amongst people. All countries, most countries. It can be overt, it could be covert, different. I'm not talking of Mr. Elliott and bringing that subject up, but that's there. We have in India something called caste, where there is a discrimination between one and the other. You have that. Other parts of the world, we have had enough of those nonsense, but it is there in the US. Is it there amongst the vet community too? And our societies and communities also having a bias towards one versus the other?
Yes. Yes. Well, I've worked in diverse communities over the years as a banker because my area was Community Reinvestment Act, and it was purposely saying that the banks have to give back in distressed communities. So I love the diversity work. And what I've been finding is that the universal vessel is veterans. When I looked at the academic research, I found out that when we're treating veterans, then that's one of the rare places where we don't have as much discrimination. And so I love that. And actually, our minority populations are huge warriors. For example, the Native American communication has the highest rate of volunteerism in the United States per person that volunteers. So I have found that I'm changing a structure, and that will live on beyond me because I'm changing the way we're making the programs flow together. And indirectly, it will provide more diversity opportunities because the businesses, the technology, those are available for people of all colors, all backgrounds to start their businesses, and we're going to help them. And when soldiers are together in the field, it is truly diverse.
Sure.
And so then the people that are used to working together are coming forward into the veteran scene. So I'm really excited about what I can do to help through the structural changes.
Tell me, Kim, I mean, that's great. And I think you have brought this defense forces across the world, across most of the professional defense forces are agnostic to race, color, and sex. And therefore, it's that it is there amongst the SEALs or amongst the Marines. It's great. I'm asking you one more question here. Can you give a sense to viewers across the world? What is the number of vets you have today? Whether they're disabled or they have other challenges. What is the size of your vet population as a segment?
Well, it's really huge. For example, I'm in Omaha, Nebraska, and we have 400,000 vets in our metropolitan area. So that's really large because you can compare 400,000 vets and their families, widows, and all that with the fact that in our metropolitan area, we have 1.2 million. So we actually have a lot of vets. We have vets that live a long time. And that's another reason why my veteran villas and small business approach makes a lot of sense, because then the elderly person that wants to start a new business will have a chance. And we're growing older, and I'm actually possibly a mature woman, depending upon standards.
You are? Okay.
Yeah.
I take you at face value.
I'm just beginning to be alive, and I'm so excited and honored to be able to bring this to people.
You are doing a fabulous job. It's fantastic.
Well, it makes me happy.
Because you're making people happy. You're making lives of people happy. You're making families happy. Very noble. Very noble. We love to hear this. I wish we do even 5% of what you have been doing all these years. Congratulations on this. We have 5 minutes to go, Kim, as we move along. So I think while you have described what you have been doing, your life's journey, how it is impacting a segment of the society, which is so essential to be covered because they are giving up a lot to protect ourselves. What is it that you want to do? What is it that will give you your sense of achievement? You've been a banker, You understand modeling, therefore you have come out with the ratios of optimization of space and benefits to your target group. Beyond this, what is your life achievement that you want to look back and say, yes, I did do, or I did try something, which is
Well, that's my children, because I'm doing this so that my children can come to my veteran villas and small business centers and they can see how happy the people are and how we're helping people. And because, you know, my life is limited and I've wondered, what can I do that makes a difference? And I feel that my mission is not even something that I really necessarily created. It's something that came from maybe another power, because I was looking at property and all of a sudden I blurted out to the broker, I want to do something for veterans. And then here we are 2 years later, and I have active programs. I have 90 million going on in South Sioux City and 25 million in Pueblo and so forth. So that's my mission, is to fulfill what is right based on my set of skills and experiences and the energy that I have and what I can do for the children.
fabulous. Kim Coley, you lightened, you have lit literally this WEF, Women Economic Forum 2020. It's a remarkable story of a woman who has gone out to the world and done things which very few people will dream. You have dared to do this. Thank you so much. But before I let you go, on behalf of Women Economic Forum 2020, I'm pleased to confer on you the WEF Award as an iconic woman for creating a better world for all. Please accept from Women Economic Forum this award. You are truly an iconic woman.
Thank you very much.
Welcome.
You did a great job as a moderator. I really appreciate it. Thank you.
I fed off you. I picked the content.
Take care.
Yeah, you too. Lovely. Thank you. Have a good day. Bye-bye.
You too.
Sure.